Who is buried under the shackles of the burial star? Whether it is ancient creatures or contemporary indigenous people, Zhengqing, a member of the three good citizens of Earth, is gradually exploring the past of the burial star and striving to find the future. Chapter 1. Ling. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the distant starry sky, there is a pale blue planet called Burial Star, with a total volume of about 10 Earths. On the surface of the planet, it seems to be enveloped by several invisible chains and transparent halos. But with the eyes of mortals, these things cannot be seen. Only when humans reach the highest level of cultivation, the realm of artifact-level spiritual masters, can they discover these elusive shackles. And it is precisely these intangible shackles that make the humans on this planet forever trapped inside and unable to explore the world outside the planet. Similarly, it is these shackles that protect this planet from being discovered by other colonial planet creatures, avoiding the enslavement of its indigenous peoples by their alien species. On the planet, there is an inland area called the Kirin continent, which is more than half the size of the entire burial star area. Around the Qilin continent, there is an endless sea and countless islands in the sea. Among them, 4 giant islands are the most prominent, located in the 4 seas around the entire Qilin continent. They are a cracked sky island that looks like a bead, as well as a 7-bird island that looks like a fan, a golden pot island that looks like an overturned iron pot and constantly flashes golden light from the island, and a jade sail island that looks like a canvas. Under each giant island, there are also 1 or 20 large islands under its jurisdiction, and under these large islands, there are dozens of medium-sized islands under its control. As for those countless small islands, they are naturally managed by these medium-sized islands. The most incredible thing is that no matter what type of island it is, their appearance is peculiar. But it is possible to match the artifacts commonly used by the indigenous people on the planet according to the appearance of the island. And our protagonist Zhengqing, born in the East China Sea of the Qilin continent, is one of the countless small islands that resembles a token named Ling Island. The entire small island is over 300 kilometers long from east to west and over 100 kilometers wide from north to south. It has a population of over 300,000 and is under the jurisdiction of the medium-sized island Tiangui Island. On the beach of the island, 10-year-old Zhengqing looked bewildered and sighed silently as he looked at the adults hunting not far from the sea. Alas, I have been in this world for 10 years and have become familiar with the entire environment, but for some reason, I still cannot forge my own artifact spirit. Is it just because I don't belong to the indigenous people of this planet? Why is the heavenly way so unfair? Since you sent me to this place, why did you make me disappear from all living beings? However, the predecessor of Zhengqing was a good citizen of the earth. He didn't have many hobbies in his hometown and just enjoyed playing games and reading novels. Especially when it comes to novels of the avant-garde genre, I have a strong desire for the treasures inside. This day, I was thinking of buying some materials online and making some models in the form of the magical treasures of the past for my daily play. Who knew that after making a bell-shaped object, suddenly a stone flew from somewhere and hit the forehead directly. There wasn't much blood flowing, but there happened to be some that got on the stones and bells. In this way, through Zhengqing's blood, he was connected to stones and bells, which caused him to stumble upon this planet called Burial Star and become a baby. After more than 10 years of life, Zhengqing has also gained a rough understanding of this world. Originally, this planet was named Burial Star, and there is a continent called Kirin continent in the middle of the planet. Except for this continent, all other areas belong to the ocean. Unlike on Earth, there are not only several continents but also several sea areas. On this planet, everyone can cultivate, and their cultivation methods are somewhat unique. As long as anyone reaches the age of 10, they need to create a unique weapon called the spirit body, as well as the spirit body within it. This is the official spirit master. The spirit master, the essence of the spirit, and the spirit of the spirit complement each other, one prospers and the other suffers. When Zhengqing first heard about the news of this world's spiritual master, he often fantasized that he could also cultivate and become a spiritual master as soon as possible. This can also allow oneself to truly experience the feeling of soaring in the clouds and mist that was mentioned in the novel Fengshen when reading it on Earth. If given the opportunity, I could also learn how to refine weapons by myself, and perhaps even shine the treasures of the wilderness once again in this world. But reality is often so cruel. He started practicing on his 10th birthday, almost a year ago, but still couldn't succeed. That's also why I sat at the beach sighing from the beginning. In this world, Zhengqing is the eldest son in the family, followed by an 8-year-old younger brother and a pair of 6-year-old twin sisters. My mother's name is Zhang. She is a newly promoted spirit master, and her spirit is a red comb. And his father, Su Tian, was a mid-stage artifact spirit master at the level of heaven and man. The essence of the artifact spirit was a red harpoon. Originally, it was made from the fish bones of a deep-sea high-level monster, a bone fish. After continuous cultivation, it has been upgraded to the mid-stage of the heavenly man level, and the weapon spirit is only a reduced version of the bone fish. Chapter 2. The Birth of Bells. You are listening at novelfull.audio. According to the cultivation system of the local artifact spirit master of Burial Star, the cultivation process is divided into 8 stages as a whole. They are mortal-level instrument spirit masters, celestial-level instrument spirit masters, magical-level instrument spirit masters, magical-level instrument spirit masters, magical-level instrument spirit masters, spiritual-level instrument spirit masters, immortal-level instrument spirit masters, and divine-level instrument spirit masters. And different levels of artifact spirit masters also have different colors of their artifact spirit bodies. Except for the mortal-level artifact spirit master, whose artifact spirit body is white, the corresponding colors of their artifact spirit bodies from the celestial level to the divine level are red, blue, yellow, green, blue, and purple. As mentioned before, all residents who bury stars will, at the age of 10, with the help of their elders, create their own spiritual body. In the early stages of the spirit body, there were various white weapons, and at this time, the spirit was born into the spirit body like a consciousness. So, for a tool spirit master, this requires him to constantly cultivate this consciousness and make it a truly tangible tool spirit. But Zhengqing still feels melancholic about not being able to successfully create this spirit body. Zhengqing, lost in thought, came to his senses and looked at his younger brothers and sisters playing by the seaside. Recalling when he first arrived in this world, the sky was dim and thunderous. It wasn't until he was born that the entire sky cleared up. The elderly in the village all thought that Zhengqing was extraordinary. But it wasn't until now that he understood his extraordinary. Children of the same age group have already created their own spiritual essence, and it is only him who cannot be formed no matter how he is created. This is really extraordinary. Even the respected elderly in the village cannot see why. But only Zhengqing himself understood the reason, because every time the spirit body was about to take shape, the bell inside him that he had originally made on earth would have a strange movement. Then there will be an invisible energy that is being drawn out of the forming spiritual body and enters the bell. That's why he has been unable to create the essence of the artifact spirit. Looking at the bell inside his body, Zhengqing also choked silently, muttering to himself. Brother Ling, what are you doing here? Give me a way to work. If you keep sucking like this, no one can bear it. Let's discuss it carefully. After I finish crafting the spirit body, I will create a few more for you to absorb later. Just as Zhengqing was lost in thought, the youngest sister not far away, Zhengxue, interrupted Zhengqing's thoughts and shouted, Big brother, come and play with me quickly. Helpless Zhengqing could only look towards the place where the sound was coming from and smiled in response, saying, Number 34, okay, I'll be right over. Just a few steps away, I saw a huge crab monster not far from my 2 sisters, approaching them. Suddenly, Zhengqing was also frightened, shouting for his younger brothers and sisters to come back quickly while running towards them. Speaking of time, just as one of the crab claws of the giant claw crab was about to grip the youngest sister, Zhengqing arrived in time. He tightly embraced the crab claw with both hands, preventing it from advancing any further. However, the demon beast was still a demon beast. Although it was only at the first level, it was not something that Zhengqing, who had not yet created the spirit body, could withstand. I only saw the thorns on the crab claws, scraping Zhengqing all over with blood. And it was precisely these bright red blood that made him resonate with the bell inside his body again, as if suddenly resurrected, coming out of his body making a crisp sound at the giant crab. At this moment, only Zhengqing could see, a crab-like soul was drawn out of the giant claw crab and entered the bell. Immediately, upon seeing the entire bell, a mini version of the little girl burst out, squinting and smiling at Zhengqing, revealing a pair of cute tiger teeth. At this moment, Zhengqing's mind was filled with question marks and he said, "Your grandfather, why do you always suck my blood?" Then he fell into a coma due to excessive blood loss. When Zhengqing, who had been unconscious for a day and a night, woke up in a daze and saw 3 pairs of black eyes staring at him by the bed. Ran Lai is his younger brother Zhenghe, and his 2 younger sisters Zhengwu and Zhengxue, each holding a piece of crab meat and enjoying it. Also, in the sea filled with monsters, humans are still too small. Only by being strong themselves can they survive, and monster meat naturally becomes one of the targets for humans to obtain. After all, the spiritual power inside monster bodies can also help human spirit masters grow. Besides, in the sea, humans and monsters are naturally hostile. Zhengqing also occasionally heard from the elderly in the village that in ancient times, there were no islands of these sizes in the sea, and they gradually formed later. As for how it was formed, even the oldest elder may not be clear because the era is too ancient. Even their Silver Island was one of the last to form, over 100,000 years ago. The residents on the island, who are countless generations away from their original inhabitants, have lost much of their history in the long river. Moreover, their village was only relocated from Giant Turtle Island 300 years ago, and many of the stories on the island are also hearsay. However, Zhengqing and his village all have the surname Su. More than 300 years ago, 2 ancestors of the Su family, Su Zhidao and Su Zhihan, led their family members and followed a magical level artifact spirit master to resist monsters on this island, and settled down to take root. After more than 300 years of development, it gradually took shape, with a population of over 1,000 in Shujia village. Many ancestors from nearly a century ago either died or lost their lives in battles against monsters. On Ling Island, there are many villages like Shujia village. Basically, they are artifact masters who migrated from other medium-sized or large islands. After resisting the attacks of monsters, they choose to survive here and start reproducing. And it has been less than 10 years since the next small beast tide, with a small beast tide occurring every 100 years, while a medium-sized beast tide occurs every 500 years. As for the large-scale animal tide, it happens once 1,000 years. When the next large-scale animal tide arrives, it may not take 500 to 600 years. In fact, not all the humans on the island are willing to stay behind. But there is no way, without the permission of the higher-level island manager, you cannot leave these islands. Even if you are alone and carefree, where can you go? Near the island, besides the island, there is also the sea. If you want to go to the Chilean continent, you don't know how far apart it is. Unless you are a tool spirit master at or above the magic level, you can not only leave these small islands to go to medium-sized islands. You can even lead your family to leave together, or you can apply to be stationed on a small island. Of course, these are all digressions. Chapter 3. Fairy Products. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhengqing looked at his younger brothers and sisters, all of whom were eating like crazy. His hands, stained with oil, kept wiping on his bedding without realizing that he, the unconscious person, had already woken up. The speechless Zhengqing could only cough lightly and ask. Is it delicious? The sudden sound startled the three of them, and the crab meat in my younger brother's hand almost fell to the ground. The two younger sisters saw that their older brother had woken up and stopped eating meat, so they chattered and asked incessantly. Big brother, are you awake? Are you hungry? I have meat here, do you want to eat it? If you want to eat it, I'll give you some. After speaking, he tore off a piece of meat and prepared to stuff it into Zhengqing's mouth. Seeing the movements of his two sisters, Zhengqing quickly stopped him and said. I'm not hungry, you guys eat. Go tell your parents that I'm awake, so they don't have to worry. After speaking, Zhengqing let his younger brothers and sisters go out, and also got up and took a few steps. I didn't feel any discomfort, so I started checking if the bells inside my body were still there. When Zhengqing used his divine sense to look inside his body, he found that the bell was not only there, but also a little girl with powder carving and jade carving sitting on it, meditating. This made Zhengqing very curious and he continued to observe her with his divine sense. Feeling someone observing her little girl, she suddenly opened her eyes and then revealed a pair of tiger teeth. With a smile on her face, she looked at Zhengqing and said. Have you seen enough? This really made Zhengqing's eyes widen. It's okay to have a bell inside him. After all, the people who bury the stars are all artifact spirit masters, and at the level of celestial and human artifact spirit masters, they can collect the essence of the artifact spirit into their bodies. Although Zhengqing has not yet truly started practicing, he can still understand and even fantasize that the bell inside his body is a high-level spiritual entity. It was only because he was unable to summon it that Zhengqing gave up his fantasy and worked hard to create his own artifact spirit entity. Suddenly, a little girl with powder carving and jade carving appeared inside her body, and she was able to communicate with herself through words. Can it be said that this little girl is a spirit of a tool, and also a spirit of an immortal level or above? Because in the entire burial star, only artifacts and spirits that have reached the level of immortality or above can speak. Spirits below the level of immortals can generally only communicate through divine consciousness. Even most mortal-level artifact spirits have not yet developed spiritual intelligence and can only mechanically follow the guidance of artifact spirit masters in battles. But no matter what level of artifact spirit, it has grown and grown together with the artifact spirit master since childhood. Although Ling is not a real human, it has an infinite lifespan and shares life with humans. That is to say, when humans die, the spirit of the tool will also disappear, and the only thing that can be left is a powerful weapon without a soul, which is the essence of the spirit of the tool. As the realm of the artifact spirit master continues to improve, the artifact spirit will naturally be replenished, allowing its own strength to grow. After reaching a certain level of cultivation, even the top experts among these artifact spirit masters can waste their time in the air and cut through mountains and seas. The improvement of the realm of the artifact spirit master is accompanied by an increase in the lifespan of the artifact spirit master. Like a mortal-level artifact spirit master, they can enjoy a lifespan of 100 years, a heavenly and human-level lifespan of 200 years, a magical-level lifespan of 500 years, a spiritual-level lifespan of 800 years, a magical-level lifespan of 1,000 years, and a spiritual-level lifespan of 2,000 years. At the immortal level, one can enjoy a lifespan of 5,000 years, and even reach a divine level of 10,000 years. That's also why Zhengqing had been worried before that he couldn't create his own spiritual essence. After all, others may live for hundreds or even thousands of years, but if they can barely survive for a few decades, they will disappear from the entire world. Thinking of the possibility of an artifact spirit at or above the level of an immortal in his own body, Zhengqing was extremely excited. What does a fairy-level artifact spirit mean? It indicates that the bell inside his body is at least at the level of an immortal, otherwise it cannot become the essence of an immortal-level artifact spirit. And to his knowledge, the highest artifact spirit master stationed on the Silver Ring Island is only at the level of a magic weapon. With an excited mood, Zhengqing looked at the little girl and asked with a smile on his face. Are you a spirit? Yeah. Upon receiving the little girl's answer, Zhengqing became even more excited because she was truly a tool spirit. Why did you suddenly appear again when I couldn't see you before? Number 34, because I was sleeping, and that day I saw that you were about to be eaten by a monster, so I came out to save you. Upon hearing this, Zhengqing also had a black line on his face. According to Ling's meaning, if she hasn't encountered any danger, she will never come out and continue to hide inside the bell to sleep. According to the practice of burial star from ancient times to the present, only artifact spirits above the immortal level can speak. Are you an artifact spirit above the immortal level? Zhengqing looked at the little girl with high expectations. What are you thinking? With your fragile appearance, do you seem like a person who can quench and cultivate artifacts and spirits above the immortal level? What level of artifact spirit are you? Are you a spiritual treasure level artifact spirit that is about to be upgraded to an immortal level? Number 34, I am currently at the mortal level. Zhengqing couldn't believe that a mortal level artifact spirit could take shape and even speak to him. Are you a mortal level artifact spirit? Why can you speak up? According to common sense, you shouldn't be able to take shape now. That's because my young lady's talent is unparalleled in the world, it's just a piece of cake. Ling finished speaking and glanced disdainfully. Okay, your explanation is not only weak but also pale. Zhengqing said dejectedly. But Zhengqing can only believe what Ling said. After all, he has only been in this world for 10 years, and perhaps such a situation existed in ancient times, but it is only unknown for a long time. What happened to the energy that was absorbed when I was crafting the spirit body before? Because of this, I became a spirit master almost a year later than my peers. That's because I was hungry. I smelled the fresh energy that had just been generated and couldn't help but eat it. You're also a good person. You get me some every now and then, but the level is too low and I don't enjoy the food very much. Zhengqing saw Ling gloating after he finished speaking, which made his teeth itch with anger. He even sent himself a good person card. Is that a good word? Alright, let's not talk about that for now. Since you are a tool spirit, is my bell your tool spirit essence? Ling looked at Zhengqing with a foolish gaze and said. Can the spirit of a tool exist in the world without its own body as a medium? Are you afraid you're not scared by that crab? It is indeed true that all the artifact spirits in the burial star must be attached to the essence of the artifact spirits in order to exist. Even if your artifact spirit is shattered into pieces in battle, as long as there is a little star foam and the artifact spirit master is alive, the artifact spirit can attach itself to it and not perish. Just need a spirit master to collect them into the body and slowly nourish them. But the essence of mortal level artifact spirits cannot be absorbed into the body of artifact spirit masters, because most mortal level artifact spirits have not yet formed. Only truly formed artifact spirits can enter the body of the artifact spirit master along with the essence of the artifact spirit. Chapter 4. 5 Elements Stone. You are listening at novelfull.audio. That's also why Zhengqing was so excited when he first heard the little girl answer that he was a tool spirit. I can't believe that a toy I casually made can also become the essence of a spirit weapon. Moreover, the spirit weapon has already taken shape at the level of a mortal. Maybe I can also become the precious weapon refining spirit master, the burial star. Thinking of this, Zhengqing had a silly smile on his face and was filled with infinite fantasies about his future. But at this moment, Ling's one sentence extinguished Zhengqing's infinite imagination. You probably haven't dreamt too much, just the broken bell you made. It sounds like a weapon, but if it doesn't sound good, it's a waste, Zhengqing asked in confusion. Why, my bell is also inside me. As a tool spirit, you have also taken shape. Like other mortal level tool spirit masters, I haven't heard of anyone who can do it yet. That's because of Miss Ben's Jade. Jade, the stone I was hit on when I was on Earth 10 years ago. Zhengqing asked in reverse. Congratulations, you answered correctly. After speaking, Ling also snapped his fingers. Hearing what Ling said, Zhengqing suddenly remembered. On the day he came into this world, he happened to be hit in the head by a small stone. He and the bell came to this world together, but the stone was not seen. He always thought it was just an ordinary stone, so he didn't take it to heart. Now that Ling said so, it seems that the stone is not an ordinary thing. Immediately, he also asked Ling. What's the relationship between my bell and that stone? My bell is there, but I haven't seen that stone in these years. Can it be that you were hungry before and the stone was chewed by you? After listening to Zhengqing's words, Ling sneered. Ignorance, do you know what kind of jade I have? It is a wooden spirit stone that has existed in the innate colorless five-element stone since the formation of the world of Burial Star. Ling glanced at Zhengqing and continued to say. This wood spirit stone has a miraculous effect of nourishing the soul, and the soul can be nurtured in the wood spirit stone for eternity. Wood spirit stone nourishes the soul. What does this have to do with my bell? After listening to Ling's explanation, Zhengqing also understood. The remaining energy of the entire wooden spirit stone has already entered his bell. This makes this bell, from a tattered little toy, suddenly become an immeasurable spiritual entity with an immeasurable future. Allowing it to have unlimited potential for future growth is also of great help to the artifact spirit and artifact spirit master. For different spiritual entities, whoever has the greatest potential will require fewer spiritual items and less time to cultivate to the next level for both the spiritual and spiritual masters. After listening to Ling's explanation, Zhengqing also roughly understood. However, the bell he casually made on Earth was just an ordinary toy. If it weren't for the energy of this so-called wood spirit stone, it might only be used for ornamental purposes forever. I thought it was because of my creation that this bell became a tool spirit entity. Sigh, it made me happy for nothing. Zhengqing couldn't help but let out a sigh, and then asked Ling again. This bell should be your spiritual essence now, right? That's right. So you and the bell have been inside me all along. Does that mean you should belong to my spirit now, and I have officially become a spirit master? You can also understand it this way. I finally heard something that made me happy today. At this moment, Zhengqing was no longer depressed. At least, he had finally become a true tool spirit master. By the way, what about the wooden spirit stone and nourishing soul you just mentioned? If my bell became a qualified tool spirit entity because it received the energy of the wood spirit stone, then what is your situation? The spirit of tools should not only slowly form within the body of the spirit of tools while creating a truly qualified spirit of tools. However, at this point, the spirit of tools is still a consciousness that has not truly formed. Speaking of which, even Zhengqing himself was confused and kept questioning Ling. Also, since this bell was not the true essence of a spirit when Zhengqing himself first made it, it should not exist. How did it suddenly appear after being nurtured by the wood spirit stone? Is that wooden spirit stone originally your spiritual essence? But in this case, all the energy of the wood spirit stone will enter the bell, and you should also perish. Why has the bell now become your spiritual body instead? Indeed, according to the historical records of the burial star, whenever the essence of the artifact spirit completely disappears, the artifact spirit will inevitably disappear, without any exception. Since the last energy of the wood spirit stone has been given to the bell, the wood spirit stone should no longer exist. The wooden spirit stone, which serves as a carrier, no longer exists. How could the artifact spirit survive? Is it the exception without exception because it is the innate five spiritual stones? Ling looked at Zhengqing's furrowed brows and thoughts, unsure of how to answer. After all, according to normal circumstances, she does not belong to the true artifact spirit, but now she has indeed formed a relationship between the artifact spirit and the essence of the artifact spirit with this bell. So now even she herself can't understand what the reason is. Perhaps it's really the Mu Ling stone playing an unknown role inside. After all, as innate things, it is reasonable for many incomprehensible beings to appear. Moreover, the spirit stone itself has an incredibly powerful nourishing effect on the soul. It is precisely because of the existence of the wood spirit stone that she can, in the battle between her predecessor and the enemy, be destroyed in both her body and the spirit itself, and still be fostered together with her own spirit in the wood spirit stone without disappearing. At this moment, Ling also sighed in his heart. Alas, back then, I used to chat and was also a top-notch artifact spirit master who lived for thousands of years. It was precisely because, along with other spirit masters of the same level, they were besieged by several people for the sudden appearance of the wood spirit stone in the Qilin continent, which led to the current situation. Fortunately, at the moment when the body and spiritual essence were about to be destroyed by the enemy, I was finally able to seize this wooden spirit stone by myself. Then, Mu Lingshi sucked himself and Ling into it together. Otherwise, she would really have to disappear from this world. She often stayed in the wooden spirit stone with her original spirit like this, aimlessly for almost 10,000 years. If it weren't for a chance encounter with Zhengqing, I'm afraid I would have been staying in the Mu Lingshi for a long time. As for how she and Mu Lingshi arrived on Earth, and how they happened to bump into Zhengqing, that's what we'll talk about later. Although the wood spirit stone has been completely depleted now, she has become the spirit of the bell herself. And her predecessor's spirit, now completely a consciousness, lingers in her mind. It is in the same state as the newly created artifact spirit, which is about to take shape. It just gives her the feeling that her mind seems to have become a carrier of attachment to her own spirit. Since I don't even know the reason, there's no need to explain too much to this little doll. Number 34, in your current situation, it's not appropriate to know so much. Anyway, all you need to understand is that I'm different from other spirits, I've seen someone perfunctory before, I've never seen you so perfunctory before. Zhengqing said with a blank expression on his face. Chapter 5. Xuan'er. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeing that Ling was unwilling to provide further explanations, Zhengqing stopped asking any further questions. Anyway, he has now become a true artifact spirit master and can start practicing, so he can follow his father to go out to sea to hunt monsters and fish. Thinking of this, Zhengqing felt a bit impatient and wanted to go out and share this joy with his parents and family. But before telling his parents, he needs to figure out how to explain, and there are some things that are not easy to let his family know so early now. After all, mortal-level spirit can be formed and spoken, which is shocking. He still understands the principle of blaming others. Although he is a 10-year-old child in this world, his real age is still over 30. Parents may also understand the stakes involved, but younger siblings are still young and they still don't understand many things. If his situation is inadvertently revealed and known to those with intentions, it may not only be oneself, but also the entire family or village may face great danger. So, Zhengqing thinks it's better to discuss with Ling first. After all, when showing his spiritual essence to his parents, it is best to let the spiritual essence stay inside and not come out. Immediately, Zhengqing was about to contact Ling, but he suddenly realized that this Ling didn't seem to have a name yet. Other people's artifact spirits are directly named after the artifact spirit itself is created. And before Zhengqing could name himself, his spirit had already taken shape, which made Zhengqing a bit embarrassed. Ah, that, Miss Ling. I have a name, my name is Xuan'er, said Ling. Xuan'er. Why does this name sound so familiar? When Zhengqing heard this name, he vaguely felt that he had heard it somewhere before, but couldn't recall it. What do you want to do with Miss Ben? Zhengqing said. It's like this. Since I have become an official tool spirit master, my family and villagers will definitely know about it in the future. But after all, your situation is a bit special, so I hope you can stay inside the spirit body when it comes out. Until I reach the mortal level of a high-level spiritual master, you will appear before the world again. Zhengqing looked at Ling and found that she didn't seem to dislike what he had just mentioned, so he continued. Of course, there are also people who are mortal level high-level artifact spiritual masters, so that the artifact spirit can be formed. This way, I won't attract the attention of those with intentions, but try not to speak. Do you think this is okay? No problem. After all, I don't want to let other artifact masters know about my existence so early. After hearing Zhengqing's ideas, Xuan'er agreed directly. Let's talk about it this way. Besides, in the future, I'll call you Xuan'er. If I say anything, you can call me, Zhengqing said with a smile as he looked at Xuan'er. Whatever you want, miss, I don't care about these things. Also, remember to show more respect to Miss I recently. Maybe I'll be happy and guide you to avoid detours. Yes, just after waking up, Xuan'er also needed a lot of energy to replenish herself. She couldn't go out alone to search for spiritual objects, so she could only ask Zhengqing to help provide them. That's for sure. After all, I also need spiritual objects to cultivate. However, before, Xuan'er regained consciousness after absorbing so much energy from me to create the spirit body. I don't know how much more energy she will need in the future to use. Thinking of this, Zhengqing felt a surge of dizziness. Zhengqing walked towards the door while thinking. As soon as I walked to the door was pushed open, and the first thing that caught my eye was the twin sisters, followed by my younger brother and parents. Looking at the worried expression on his parents' faces, Zhengqing was also worried. If Xuan'er hadn't woken up at that time, perhaps if he were better now, it would be a cold corpse lying in front of his parents. If it's not good, it may become the food for monsters and end up with no bones left. Thinking about it makes people shudder. Xuan'er, you're awake. There's nothing wrong with your health, right? Mother asked urgently as she entered. Mother, I'm fine. I just lost too much blood and fell into a coma. I slept for a day and a night and it's much better. You and your father don't have to worry, Zhengqing quickly comforted his parents. It's okay, you know. When I saw a monster suddenly attacking you at sea, I was so anxious. If there was anything bad about your siblings, how should I and your mother live? Looking at his father's trembling words, Zhengqing also felt his parents' profound love for them for the first time in over a decade. My father used to be busy hunting monsters in the sea, and my mother also had to plant spiritual grass in valleys at home, so she rarely showed her true emotions like she does now. After all, Zhengqing also knows that his parents are not emotional people, but this time it's different. However, in the situation at that time, my father was also a bit far from the beach and couldn't make it for a while. No matter who encountered this situation, it would be frustrating. Zhengqing kept comforting his parents, waiting for their emotions to calm down before he excitedly told them. Father, mother, son, I have become an official tool spirit master. Upon hearing Zhengqing's words, his mother Zhanghui woke up from shock and trembled, asking. Is it true, son? It's true, I'll show you my spiritual essence, Zhengqing said as he summoned the little bell. Everyone looked surprised as a small white bell appeared in front of them, and the two younger sisters also shouted happily. My brother is also a tool spirit master, and he is also a tool spirit master. Let's see who Su Haizi and others dare to mock me again. Upon hearing his sister's words, Zhengqing also smiled knowingly. Because since Zhengqing failed to create the artifact spirit body for the first time, many children of the same age in the village have been constantly mocking him, which has also caused his younger siblings to be often ridiculed by them when playing with other children of the same age. Sometimes they also have fights with their buddies because of the ridicule others give to their older brothers. When he returned home at night, his nose and face were all blue and swollen. Whenever he saw this situation, Zhengqing roughly understood the reason. But he was used to it and it was almost becoming a daily routine. He didn't say anything, just took out the medicine to help them apply it. The children were just playing and frolicking, and the next day both sides played together as if nothing had happened. Moreover, when the other children returned home and were found to have facial injuries by their own parents, once asked, it was because they mocked Zhengqing for not having any weapon spirit until now, and if they fought with his younger siblings, they would inevitably get beaten up again. After all, these people share the same surname and ancestor, and they are all very friendly with each other. Adults are also very concerned about Zhengqing. Every time Zhengqing creates the spirit body, he basically comes to cheer him on. Even if he meets him on the road, he occasionally encourages him. Of course, among the children of the same age who cheered and encouraged him, there were also two brothers who had always gotten along very well with him, Zhenghong and Zhenglin. There are also a few younger brothers and sisters from Uncle Air's family. Every time they see Zhengqing, it's always the big brother who keeps shouting. Who wants Zhengqing to play with things from the earth from time to time? Chapter 6. Soul Devouring. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Of course, these are all digressions. At this moment, his younger brother Zhenghe looked at Zhengqing and asked, "Big brother, what is the name of your artifact spirit?" Yes, big brother, what is your spirit called? Third sister Zhengwu also agreed. My father's spirit is a harpoon, but his spirit is a mini bone fish, so it's called a small bone fish. My mother's spirit is a comb, but her spirit looks like wood, so it's called a small wooden comb. At this moment, Xiaomei Zhengxue smiled beside her and said. When everyone heard Zhengxue's voice, they all turned their heads and looked at her seriously, wanting to hear what she would say later. I see that your artifact spirit is actually a bell. Maybe when the artifact spirit is formed in the future, it will also grow to look like a bell. Why don't you call it the little bell? After speaking, he didn't forget to face his elder brother Zhengqing, hee ha 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 smiling. Upon hearing the younger sister's words, Zhengqing and his parents were covered in black lines, and even Chang Xuan'er, who was in the essence of the weapon spirit, was furious. Immediately, Chang Xuan'er used his divine sense to communicate with Zhengqing and said, I think Mrs. Appearance is unparalleled in the world. Surprisingly, she would say in your sister's mouth that she looks like a bell. I can't bear it anymore. Little ancestor, don't get excited. Don't get excited. Feeling Chang Xuan'er's anger, Zhengqing was afraid that she might run out for a moment and quickly comforted him. Zhengxue is still young. If a child says something, please don't take it to heart, little ancestor. Your anger can hurt your liver. After listening to Zhengqing's words, Chang Xuan'er felt that she was also understanding, and her mood gradually calmed down. After thinking for a moment, she said. Seeing that she's still young, I won't argue with this little brat today. When she grows up, I must let her know my strength. After speaking, he still showed a witch-like smile, giving the impression that he was thinking about what kind of method to use in the future to prank Zhengxue, this little girl. Seeing Chang Xuan'er's mischievous expression, Zhengqing also understood that she wouldn't really hit her sister hard. After all, as one's own spirit, one can also be considered one's own family, but in the future, my younger sister may have to endure some hardships. After calming Chang Xuan'er, Zhengqing said to his parents and younger siblings, my spirit is called Xuan'er. As for why it is called Xuan'er, you will understand it in the future. Let me keep it a secret now. After speaking, I didn't forget to keep smiling at my little sister Zhengxue. Watching my older brother smile at me, Zhengxue's face was also full of questions, thinking about why my older brother keeps smiling at me. Is it because he wants to eat the crab meat in my hand? However, Zhengxue was still holding a piece of crab meat in her hand. She looked at the meat and then at her older brother, and then handed the whole piece of crab meat to Zhengqing with a regretful expression. Here, big brother, you eat. This made Zhengqing numb, and he had no choice but to say in silence, "Big brother, you can eat it yourself." Upon hearing his elder brother's words, Zhengqing quickly stuffed the meat into his mouth, as if afraid of being snatched by his own elder brother if he slowed down a step. This scene directly stunned Zhengqing, even his parents smiled. "By the way, Xuan'er, what accessory skills do you have with this bell?" Su Tian looked at Zhengqing and asked. Originally, Su Tian's spirit body harpoon belonged to melee weapons, and its auxiliary skills were mainly located at the top of the harpoon. When facing enemies, it can be made longer and more sturdy, and the spirit body of the wife and children Zhang was originally made of 1,000-year-old peach wood with a yellow rank. The main function is also auxiliary, which can provide energy to flowers, plants, and trees to assist in growth, but due to the low level of the wife's spirit, the effect is also limited. Upon hearing his father's question, Zhengqing immediately began to communicate with Xuan'er again. "Yeah, Xuan'er, what are your and Belle's accessory skills? I don't even know about them yet." "Soul fixation, soul devouring, and possession. When the bell rings once, it can immobilize the enemy, and when it rings again, it can absorb the enemy's soul. As for possession, I can attach the absorbed soul to a soulless human spirit master or monster, but the effect will also vary when facing different opponents," replied Xuan'er. "Fixing the soul. Devouring the soul. Possessing the soul, is it related to the soul?" Zhengqing asked in response. "Yes." Upon hearing Xuan'er's answer, Zhengqing suddenly realized that this function was somewhat similar to the combination of the falling soul bell and the yin-yang mirror in the Fengshen romance. If you remember correctly, in the Fengshen era, the falling soul bell should be a precious item of Guangchengzi, one of the 12 immortals who expounded on the Jade Void. Especially his other magical treasure, the Fantian seal, has infinite power. If he can learn how to refine weapons in the future, he may also be able to help someone create a Fantian seal. For the falling soul bell, as long as the bell rings, it can make people lose their soul and become unconscious. But this treasure is only ineffective against Neza because he is the body of a lotus root, so he has no soul or soul. As for whether there will also be people like Neza in the burial star, it's hard to say. As for the yin-yang mirror, it is even more powerful. This mirror was originally a cave stabilizing tool for teaching immortal red sperm. I remember when I first watched the Fengshen romance, I saw a scene where Yin Hong, the son of King Zhou, used this magic weapon to take a photo of Huang Feihu, and Huang Feihu immediately died. Later, when he took another photo of Huang Feihu, he was resurrected. Thinking of this, Zhengqing was extremely excited in his heart at this moment, because he himself was extremely infatuated with the magical treasures of Honghuang. I didn't expect that after arriving in this world, my artifact spirit and artifact spirit body were not only rare bell-shaped weapons, but also combined with the functions of the falling soul bell and the yin-yang mirror in the legend of Fengshen. I felt like my dreams had come true. You said that facing different opponents, the effect of the effect will also be different. Where is the difference? Zhengqing continued to ask, thinking of what Xuan'er had just said. It all depends on the level difference between the opponent and us. For those who are higher than us, it also depends on how much level they are higher. For example, we are still at the beginner level of the mortal level. If we choose a medium-level artifact spirit master or a first-level medium-level monster, with good luck, we can hold it for a long time, but with bad luck, we may only hold it for a few seconds. And it also depends on the other party, what type of artifact spirit master or monster it is, as well as the potential of the artifact spirit master's artifact spirit body and the potential of the monster. Xuan'er continued by saying. As for those of the same level, if you're lucky, you can hold on for a few seconds, but if you're unlucky, others will just have a headache and nothing will happen. As for the same level and stage, it is basically a certain criterion. In the case of burying stars, any artifact or spirit related to the soul is definitely invincible at the same level, unless the other party is also related to the soul. Of course, your bell has unlimited potential. The higher the level, the greater its impact. So, Zhengqing, you need to put in more effort. Number 34, haha, Chang Xuan'er laughed while speaking. Chapter 7. Jade Sail Island Owner. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Thinking of this, Zhengqing also roughly understood. Although both his Bell spirit and Xuan'er spirit have great potential and strong abilities, they cannot be unbeatable in the world, especially at this stage. Immediately, Zhengqing told Chang Xuan'er's words to his parents in their entirety. However, when the parents heard Zhengqing's words, they were shocked. Although they are currently only celestial-level spirit masters, they also know that any spirit and body related to souls have unlimited potential, which means their son's future achievements are definitely not low. At the burial star, every artifact spirit master will have a clear understanding of their own artifact spirit body and its associated skills at the moment when the artifact spirit body is created. However, Zhengqing is different from other artifact spirit masters, so at the beginning, he was not aware of his own artifact spirit essence and its affiliated skills. Although the spirit master himself can strengthen himself by practicing secret scripts and using spiritual objects. However, the spirit of the tool and the essence of the tool can only be improved through the energy feedback from the tool spirit master himself. Therefore, the accessory skills that come with the spirit of the tool and the spirit of the tool itself are already fixed at the moment of creating the spirit of the tool in the early stage, and in the later stage, only the strength of the skills is improved, and no other accessory skills can be added. So, in the early stages, the essence of the artifact spirit often determines the lower limit of the future of the artifact spirit master, while the self-cultivation of the artifact spirit master determines the upper limit. Thinking of this, Su Tian solemnly said to Zhengqing. Xuan'er, although your bell spirit has not yet formed, if we look at the skills attached to the bell you just mentioned, your spirit and its body have unlimited potential in the future. But you also need to understand that in the burial of stars, any artifact spirit masters related to souls are the focus of top forces, not only humans, but also monsters. After all, both human artifact masters and monsters do not want each other to have more potential artifact masters, which leads to many immature artifact masters often being secretly assassinated by both sides. Looking at Zhengqing, Su Tian continued with a serious expression. So, before you have the ability to protect yourself, you must remember to keep your situation confidential at all times and not let those with intentions know. I know, Father, Zhengqing replied solemnly as he looked at his father Su Tian's serious expression. But father, why do the spirit masters related to souls attract the attention of some forces? Is there any unknown reason among them? Zhengqing asked in confusion. Upon hearing his son's question, Su Tian also spoke gently. Specifically, being a father is not very clear, but since ancient times, whenever such a spirit master appears, the last message that comes out is often that there is no human being born or a corpse died. It could be hidden by certain forces, or it could be actually assassinated. But according to my father's understanding, only the current island master stationed on Yufan Island is the one who has truly grown up and is related to the soul class. As for whether there is anything else, it is unclear whether I am a father. After all, being a father is not of high level, and many pieces of information cannot be known by my father. What kind of person is the owner of Yufan Island, father? Zhengqing looked at his father with anticipation, because he also wanted to learn more about other spiritual masters related to soul. Looking at his son's expectant expression, Su Tian immediately shared with Zhengqing the relevant information he knew about the owner of Yufan Island. Originally, the current owner of the artifact spirit master stationed on Yufan Island is one of the top 10 forces from the Qilin continent, the first demon-slaying academy in the Diamond Temple, and there is no sea of high-level artifact spirit masters with a divine level. There is no sea here. He was originally a miscellaneous monk at the Diamond Temple in his early days. Just when I accidentally found a soul stone the size of a nail cap, I added this soul stone to create the artifact spirit body. This also resulted in his demon-slaying pestle spirit body and spirit, possessing the ability to purify his soul through attacks. When facing enemies, Master Jingma's demon-slaying pestle often has an overwhelming advantage, especially for those evil and demonic cultivators, which is known as the Nemesis. And his demon-slaying pestle is incredibly heavy, combined with soul attacks, it is invincible. That is also why Master Jingma has become one of the top 10 masters of human artifact spirits. Zhengqing couldn't help but think that he didn't know when he would also be able to reach this point. Then he continued to ask his father Su Tian. What's the situation with King Kong Temple? Is our island also under the jurisdiction of King Kong Temple? That's not true. Our current island is a small island called Ling Island, under the jurisdiction of the medium-sized island Giant Turtle Island, all of which belong to the Infinite Sword sect among the top 10 powers. Originally, each island in the nearshore was guarded by a corresponding level of artifact spirit masters, and except for the owners of the 4 giant islands, other large islands and the medium and small islands under their jurisdiction were basically guarded by artifact spirit masters from the same force. Just like Ling Island, it is under the jurisdiction of the medium-sized island Giant Turtle Island, which in turn is under the jurisdiction of the large island Maple Leaf Island. And the island owners and managers on these islands all come from the Infinite Sword sect, one of the top 10 powers in the Kirin continent. That is to say, generally a large island or several large islands represent a power. After all, no one of the top 10 powers can occupy only one large island. Just like this Infinite Sword sect, because most of the spiritual masters in the sect use swords as their own spiritual bodies, with strong combat power. They occupy 3 large islands, including Maple Island. But it is also possible that a giant island represents several factions, as not all factions have separate abilities to govern a giant island, especially when a large wave of beasts approaches. Since you have taken over this island and gained its benefits, you must ensure its safety accordingly. In addition to being on guard against the rampant plunder of evil cultivators or demonic cultivators, one also has to constantly respond to the attacks of monsters and resist the tide of beasts. The danger level is definitely higher than in the sects of the Qilin continent. After all, overseas, there are countless more demon beasts than humans. Perhaps at some point, a demon beast will suddenly come knocking on them, but it is still relatively safe on the island, after all, protected by the formation. It's just that the formation has no effect on level 1 monsters, perhaps it's a small flaw intentionally left by the formation mage to provide food for the residents on the island. As the saying goes, there will always be gains if there is loss. Staying on an island naturally has many benefits, just like cultivating resources. The artifact spirit masters responsible for guarding each island don't have to worry about cultivating resources at all. Each faction, in order to compensate for the artifact masters stationed on the island, will allow them to keep 30% of their profits on the island for their own use. Of the remaining income, 20% needs to be handed over to the higher level island, and 50% belongs to the entire island owner's mansion. As for the 50% profit of this island lord's mansion, not everyone can freely use it. These are all kept to cope with the beast tide, including some pills, spirit stones, spiritual materials, minerals, etc., all of which are war readiness supplies. But even for a small island, 30% of the annual income earned on the island is enough for the artifact masters stationed on the island to use. Chapter 8. Island Main City. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As for these 4 giant islands, unlike other large islands, they do not belong to a single force. Each term of the island lord is guarded by forces occupying large islands in rotation, provided that there are divine-level artifact masters present within this force. Otherwise, one is not qualified to possess large islands. However, they can also rely on other large forces to occupy some small and medium-sized islands. However, when the tide of beasts approaches, they must also be called upon by dependent forces to participate in the defense of the island. In addition, The island owners stationed on giant islands are changed every 1,000 years and are all divine-level artifact spiritual masters, which is also designed to cope with the once-in-a-millennium large-scale beast tide. After listening to what his father said, Zhengqing was also full of infinite imagination about the world outside of Ling Island. When on Earth, due to belonging to the end of the Dharma era, not only practicing martial arts, but also practicing martial arts is not something that everyone can achieve. And in burying stars, not only can the whole nation cultivate, but even the strong can move mountains, fill the sea, and fly to heaven and earth. For Zhengqing, this was incredibly tempting, and every time he thought of it, a slightly excited smile appeared on his face. Of course, my younger brothers and sisters are still young. Seeing Zhengqing's expression, I feel that it is because my older brother has just become a tool spirit master and is happy. But as a passerby, my father Su Tian doesn't understand it that way. Back then, when I became a tool spirit master, I was in the same mood as my son Zhengqing now, always fantasizing about going out and exploring the world. However, reality is often so ruthless. Due to the limited potential of one's own spiritual essence, it makes it difficult for him to make further progress in cultivation. It's not that I'm not working hard enough, but it's just my background. I'm not as high as the disciples of those big sects, and I can see through it in the area of Ling Island. Under the continuous impact of reality, these unrealistic fantasies have gradually been dispelled. Especially after having Zhengqing and his siblings, I gradually came to understand. Perhaps living happily with my wife and children every day on this small island and village should be the goal I strive to pursue. Later, Su Tian said. Xuan'er, don't think too much about anything else at the moment. You have just become a tool spirit master, and the most important thing is to work hard to cultivate, so that you can quickly have the ability to protect yourself. Number 34, okay, father, since I have become a tool spirit master now, can I go out to sea hunting with you, father? Number 34, immediately, Zhengqing also asked his father about it. Originally, according to the requirements of each village on the island, any child who became a tool spirit master must start preparing to go out to sea for hunting. This is also to enable them to adapt to battles with monsters earlier, except for those non-combat spirit masters who possess special skills. Moreover, spirit masters require a large number of spiritual items as cultivation resources. Although there are a large number of cultivated spiritual items on the islands near the sea, they are all owned by the master. Moreover, even if it is grown by oneself, one cannot endlessly use these spiritual creatures, and everyone understands the principle of fishing with all one's might. Moreover, it takes a long time for these spiritual objects to grow to a certain level of usefulness. So, for the current island spiritual masters, there are only two ways to obtain cultivation resources. Either it's walling stone, go to the main city of the island to purchase, or hunt monsters or search for them in the deep sea. As for their Su village, it is not considered a relatively strong force. Given the current situation in Zhengqing's family, there is simply no spare spirit stone available to purchase cultivation resources for him, so he can only go out to sea to hunt monsters. Of course, Zhengqing himself was also aware of this, so he asked his father Su Tian in this way, wanting to go out to sea hunting with his father. In order to obtain more cultivation resources as soon as possible, after all, for artifact masters, every part of the monster's body is valuable. Just like monster meat, it is edible, and artifact spirit masters can obtain spiritual power for cultivation from monster meat, increasing their own strength. And the essence and blood on monster bodies, as well as other parts, can be used for alchemy or as materials for crafting artifact spirits. Upon hearing Zhengqing's words, his mother Zhang frowned. As the saying goes, when a child travels thousands of miles, the mother worries, feeling both happy for her son to become a spiritual master and worried about his departure from the sea. After all, going out to sea to hunt monsters is not a safe job. How many experienced artifact spirit masters have been buried in the mouths of monsters, let alone Zhengqing who has just become an artifact spirit master? But Mother Zhengqing also understood that this was a necessary path for her son's growth, and she did not deliberately block his son's desire to go out to sea. She only instructed him to protect himself when he went out to sea. Number 34, Madam, don't worry, I will take good care of Xuan'er then. Su Tian quickly comforted his wife. Number 34, alright, let's not talk about that for now. Today is a big day. Madam, you can make a sumptuous dinner later, and also call in your younger brother, younger sister, and his children. Let's celebrate together. Number 34, upon hearing her father say she wanted to celebrate, little sister Su Jingxue happily asked. Number 34, Father, can I have more lingu for dinner tonight? Number 34, no problem, today I asked you to let go and eat. As soon as the father finished speaking, the two younger sisters jumped up with joy. It's not surprising that they are so excited, after all, the resources on the island are limited. Lingu not only has sufficient spiritual energy, but also has a very good taste. However, the area where lingu can be planted on the island is limited, which results in the high value of lingu. Usually, the family rarely uses lingu as a staple food and sells it in the main city of the island. During major holidays, there may be a small amount of lingu consumed. To put it bluntly, Su Zhengqing has eaten more monster meat in the past decade, even if counted by kati, than the number of spiritual grains counted by pieces. When it comes to the main city of the island, it is actually the only large city that manages the island. There is a bustling market for trading within the city. Once at the end of the year, Su Zhengqing, his father, and his second uncle went there and saw the level of excitement inside, which was comparable to the large shopping malls of major festivals on Earth today. There are countless shops of all sizes in the neighborhood, with a variety of items that left Su Zhengqing stunned, and most of them are resources related to the cultivation of artifact masters. Of course, there are also many people who trade here on a regular basis, as the permanent population of the entire city accounts for half of the population of the entire island. And like Su Zhengqing in his village, due to their distance from the main city of the island, they don't go to the main city of the island several times a year. After the father finished speaking, he quickly asked his mother to prepare dinner, and then took a few little ones out, saying that Su Qing should rest well again and call him again when dinner is over. After all the family members left, Su Zhengqing prepared to lie down in bed for a while to ease his excitement. Chapter 9. Blood Mulberry Tiger Bone Wine. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the evening, Su Zhengqing and his family of 6, along with his second uncle Su Gongqing and his family of 5, all sat around the table. All faces were filled with smiles, celebrating Su Zhengqing's official becoming a tool spirit master. Especially uncle and aunt, they were extremely happy to hear that Su Zhengqing had finally become a tool spirit master. For this reason, Uncle Air also took out a jar of his long-cherished Huangpin middle-rank spirit wine. Blood Mulberry Tiger Bone Wine. This kind of spirit wine is also brewed by Uncle Air himself, using yellow-grade first-grade blood mulberry and second-grade first-grade sea tiger head animal bones to brew spirit wine. A few little guys drool when they see the wine brought out by Uncle Air. But the spiritual energy in this wine is not like them. Ordinary people who have not yet become spiritual masters can digest it, and they need to mix it with water before they can drink such a small cup. Su Zhengqing also couldn't have imagined that Uncle Air could take out this wine. He used to grind and grind in front of Uncle Air, and couldn't even drink a little bit. I heard from Uncle Air before that this type of wine can be exchanged for a lot of cultivation resources for personal use if taken to the local market in the main city of the island. Even if sold, it would still be worth about 50 spirit stones per kilogram. However, Uncle Air has never been willing to accept it. Due to material issues, not many are brewed. Uncle Air used to store it as a treasure, but he never expected to be willing to take it out today. When it comes to blood sang and sea tiger head, it is necessary to mention the cultivation system of star burial spirit masters and demon beasts, as well as various levels of spiritual objects. Like human artifact masters, there are a total of 8 levels from mortal level to divine level, with each level divided into 3 stages. Beginner level, medium level, and high level. And monster beasts are also relatively simple, ranging from level 1 to level 8, with each level divided into 3 stages. As for those spiritual objects in heaven and earth, they are divided according to the 4 levels of heaven and earth Xianhuang, plus 3 stages of primary, medium, and high. Originally, according to the initial stage of Huangpin blood mulberry, it could not produce Huangpin middle stage spirit wine. But with the combination of the second-level monster bones and the fact that second uncle himself is an experienced winemaker, after unremitting efforts, he finally blended this unique spirit wine. Watching Uncle Air pour the wine carefully, Zhengqing smiled. "Uncle, don't be so stingy. It's okay to pour in more. What do you know, you stinky kid? I only have this last jar of wine left. Of course, I have to be careful. If I spill it, it will hurt me. Number 34, there's no need, second uncle. As the saying goes, if the old one doesn't go, the good one won't come. If you finish drinking it, you can brew it in 10 or 8 jars." Number 34, after listening to Zhengqing's words, his father Su Tian also smiled awkwardly and explained to Zhengqing. Number 34, your second uncle's wine may not be easy to brew now. Why? Zhengqing asked in confusion. Su Tian picked up a glass of wine that Zhengqing had poured for him, took a sip, and then said, "Good wine." Then he continued to explain to Zhengqing. Although your second uncle's blood mulberry tiger bone wine is only in the middle level of the yellow grade, in terms of its spiritual energy level, it is not inferior to the high-level spiritual wine. Number 34, why is this spirit wine only in the middle level now? Isn't it because Uncle Air cut corners? After speaking, Zhengqing still had a wicked smile on his face. After listening to his son Zhengqing's words, Su Tian also laughed heartily. That's because the mulberries of blood mulberry, a spiritual substance used as the main material for brewing, were only in the first stage of yellow wine when brewed. If it weren't for the use of second-level sea tiger beasts as auxiliary materials, it might not have even reached the middle stage. After Uncle Zhengqing finished pouring wine for everyone, he continued Su Tian's words with a proud expression on his face, saying, "This blood mulberry is not an ordinary thing. If it grows normally and matures completely, it can become a prefecture-level spiritual object. However, it takes 3,000 years, so we can imagine its preciousness. Your second uncle and I were also in the main city market of the island when we accidentally obtained these blood mulberry berries. Because they were only in the early stage of the yellow variety, we decided to use them for brewing." Looking at Uncle Air's proud and coquettish expression, Zhengqing felt a moment of silence in his heart. Then he also picked up his own glass, took a sip, and clearly felt a strong spiritual energy filling him. Just as I felt like I was about to be overwhelmed by this spiritual energy, suddenly most of the spiritual energy was quickly sucked away by the bell of the spiritual body. Immediately, I heard Xuan'er's voice and thought to myself, well, it's okay, but it's a bit missing. Not much, almost 80% of the spiritual energy has been absorbed by you. Why do you use half or even less of someone else's spiritual cultivation resources from the spiritual master? Why did you use 80% of my spiritual energy in one go? Thinking of this, Zhengqing's face was filled with helplessness. Don't compare those spiritual tools with Miss I, you just need to understand that the more spiritual energy Miss I need, the more benefits it will bring to you. What benefits does that have for me? You are still young now, and in the future you will naturally understand. With just one sentence from Xuan'er, Zhengqing was stunned. Fortunately, her explanation was still so pale and powerless. Seeing Zhengqing's constantly changing expression, everyone laughed silently because they had all experienced this before. Of course, except for a few little ones who are indulging in indulgence, because what they are most concerned about now is the food in front of them. Then Su Tian smiled and asked Zhengqing, "Xuan'er, how much spiritual energy have you been absorbed by the spirit of the instrument? Zhengqing thought for a moment, but still didn't truthfully tell his father about them, only saying that about 40% of them. It's not that Zhengqing wants to deliberately conceal, but that he really doesn't know how to explain his current situation. After all, even he himself is not sure whether his current situation is good or bad. If something that happens to their son is not only beyond their parents' common sense, but also unique in this world, then parents and their children will definitely worry. So, before fully understanding all of his own situation, Zhengqing felt that it was better not to tell his parents all of his current situation. After hearing 40% of what Zhengqing said, their parents were still shocked. Because in their understanding, Zhengqing's spirit is probably not yet formed, and can only passively absorb the spiritual energy that Zhengqing's body feeds back. In the existing world of burial stars, no matter which artifact spirit master, even if your artifact spirit has high potential, the spiritual energy it can absorb from the artifact spirit master before it is formed will not exceed 30% at most. The spirit of tools like Su Tian and others, although they have already taken shape, is only about 30%. Even if it is taking spiritual items that are particularly suitable for oneself, based on the potential of Su Tian and his spiritual essence, it will not exceed 40%. Of course, for those artifact spirit masters with high potential, the spiritual energy absorbed by their formed artifact spirits will not exceed 60% at most. That's also why they were all surprised. In fact, what surprised them even more was that when Zhengqing first took a spiritual object, he was directly sucked away 80% of his spiritual energy by his instrument spirit. After all, they wouldn't have thought that when Zhengqing became a tool spirit master, the tool spirit had already taken shape. Chapter 10. Going to Sea. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xuan'er, it seems that your spiritual essence has extraordinary potential. Zhengqing suddenly said, then looked at his nephew and continued to earnestly instruct Zhengqing. But as a newcomer, what Uncle Air wants to tell you is that no matter when or where you are, you must hide your own situation. Uncle Zhengqing had just finished instructing Zhengqing, and his father Su Tian also added. Yeah, Xuan'er, your second uncle is right. You're still young, so don't get carried away and reveal your situation. Zhengqing looked at his parents and his second uncle and aunt, and found that they all had serious and worried expressions on their faces. Zhengqing immediately replied. Father, mother, second uncle, and second aunt, although I am only 10 years old now, there are some things that I still know about my interests. Don't worry about this. Su Tian also understands his own son, who has been mentally mature since childhood, unlike other underage children who are ignorant. So I didn't say anything else and quickly greeted my younger brother and siblings for dinner. By the way, Xuan'er, will you go to sea with us tomorrow morning? Uncle Air asked Zhengqing while drinking. Go ahead. Zhengqing also gave a resounding and powerful answer. Okay, Uncle Air would like to offer you a toast. Firstly, I wish you become a tool spirit master, and secondly, I wish you some success tomorrow. Uncle Air had just picked up his glass and was about to clink it with Zhengqing when the little girl sitting next to him, Zhengqing, suddenly shouted. I also want to respect Big Brother. I also want. Then, the other siblings also shouted to clink a glass with Zhengqing. Immediately, Father Su Tian raised his glass and said with a smile. Okay, let's all work together to help Xuan'er become a tool spirit master. After speaking, everyone picked up their own glasses in front of them, then touched each other and drank them all in one gulp. The next day, when it was just dawn, Su Tian, his father, called out Zhengqing because hunting at sea is usually done relatively early. After Zhengqing finished, he saw that his mother Zhang Hui had also packed the food. If they go out to sea to hunt, with good luck, they may be able to catch many monsters in a day. It is also possible that there may not be much harvest for several days, and there may even be casualties, so it is necessary to bring food, water, and some medicine to prepare for emergencies. Before leaving, Zhang Hui's mother tearfully said to Zhengqing, "Xuan'er, when at sea, you must listen to your father and second uncle, don't be impulsive, and prioritize your own safety." Watching his mother about to cry, Zhengqing assured him, "Mother, don't worry, I know how much I weigh and won't act rashly. Besides, with my father and second uncle around, I won't be in trouble." After comforting his mother, Zhengqing followed his father to the beach to gather with his second uncle and the others. When he arrived at the seaside, Zhengqing found many people standing in groups of 3 or 5 chatting together, and there were also several boats on the sea, heading towards the distance. Following his father to Uncle Er's side, Zhengqing finally found out that he was going to sea with them today, along with Uncles Su Gongshu and Su Gonghai from the village, as well as Su Jingdao from Su Gongshu's uncle's house. As for Su Jingdao, he happens to be 15 years old this year, with a thick and muscular physique. His spiritual essence is a powerful giant hammer, and he named himself a heavy hammer. Back then, when Zhengqing first heard this name, he almost didn't spit out the food in his mouth. However, after this voyage, Zhengqing also understood why he chose such a name. When Zhengqing and his father Su Tian arrived at their side, Su Jingdao used his powerful palm to pat Zhengqing's shoulder and said, "Zhengqing, I can't believe you have finally become a tool spirit master. What type of tool spirit essence is yours?" The other 2 uncles also looked at Zhengqing with a smile on their faces, wanting to know the answer. Zhengqing rubbed his shoulder and then said to Jingdao with a slightly painful expression on his face, "Number 34, Brother Jingdao, your strength is too great, isn't it? Number 34, my spirit body is a bell, which can be considered as an auxiliary combat type. When the bell rings, it can emit an invisible sound wave, attacking the enemy's brain and consciousness, and delaying their actions. Number 34, this is also the external explanation that the family came up with after discussing during dinner last night, so as not to attract attention from others. Alright, it's almost time. Let's get ready to go." In order to avoid others continuing to question Zhengqing, Su Tian directly proposed to depart. After listening to Su Tian's words, the others didn't ask any more. They saw that Su Gongshu threw something unknown into the sea with one hand. When the entire object fell on the sea surface, it also grew several times larger. It was only then that Zhengqing could see clearly that it was actually a ship. Judging from the size of the entire ship, I'm afraid it's just enough for them to stay on it. Su Jingdao saw Zhengqing's puzzled face and immediately told him about the information about this ship. Originally, this ship was the spiritual body of Su Jingdao's father, and the main material used for the entire hull was high-grade yellow sunken wood. Due to the depiction of a hanging-eyed white tiger on the ship's body, it was named the White Tiger Wood ship. The main function of this ship is to be used for sea navigation, with a slow speed, a sturdy hull, and relatively complete living facilities inside. After the entire ship stabilized on the sea surface, everyone immediately jumped up and onto the ship. Su Gongshu commanded the wooden boat, Ling, to sail towards the southeast of the sea. Sitting on the boat, feeling the overwhelming ocean atmosphere, Zhengqing felt incredibly comfortable. At this moment, Zhengqing couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Alas, when I was on Earth, I didn't even see much of the sea, let alone going out by boat. Unexpectedly, after arriving at the burial star, I not only grew up by the seaside, but even going out to sea may become commonplace in the future. After the wooden boat had been sailing for over an hour, his father Su Tian asked Su Gongshu to stop the boat, then flipped his palm upwards and saw a green bottle in front of him. Watching such a situation, Zhengqing was also extremely envious. Because only when you reach the level of heaven and humanity and have a fully formed artifact spirit, can you form a storage space with the cooperation of the artifact spirit, centered around the place where the artifact spirit body stays inside your body. However, most artifact masters have limited storage space. But among the spirit masters, there is a type of pure spatial spirit masters whose skills are related to space. When this type of artifact spirit master cultivates to a certain level, they can even store live items in the storage space. Of course, this is what will happen later. Immediately, Zhengqing saw his father Su Tian scattering the contents of the bottle onto the sea and shouting loudly. "Prepare for battle, Xuan'er. You can hide behind us later and observe how we cooperate in the battle." Zhengqing immediately replied. "Okay, father."